Hi, I'm Allie Wolf, and today I'm going to be going over Gibbon locomotion patterns. I chose this topic because not only are gibbons the only true brachiators, but they are also the most bipedal non-human primates. These two modes of locomotion are very different in that brachiation requires a majority of your muscle mass to be in your forelimbs, as you rely on your shoulder and forelimb areas to support your entire body weight as you're swinging through the trees. With bipedalism, a majority of your muscle mass is located in your hips and your legs in order to keep your weight upright and keep your body stabilized as you're walking straight. Gibbons are members of the Hylobatidae family, which consists of 20 species of gibbons, and they are considered to be the only true brachiators. In this presentation, I'm going to be splitting it into about 3 parts, going over what makes them brachiators and how they're defined as true brachiators, going over the anatomy behind brachiation and bipedalism, as well as what their use of bipedalism can illustrate about human evolution. Okay, with brachiation, it's a gibbon's primary mode of locomotion. This is kind of adapted over time as they live in Southeast Asia, which has predators such as tigers, panthers, a lot of things in the ground that'll want to eat a small primate. There are different degrees of brachiation, just like there are with bipedalism. There are semi-brachiators, modified brachiators like bonobos and chimps, and non-brachiators like humans and macaques. In order to be a true brachiator, a primate must rely solely on their forelimbs for movement, with strong forelimb muscles that allow them to do so. Majority of their muscle mass is in their shoulder to support this movement, as majority of their body weight is held on by a single arm. This is different from humans, as majority of our muscle mass is in our legs and hips to support our mode of locomotion. So in order to understand how brachiation is represented anatomically, not only do gibbons have longer forelimbs than hind limbs, but the short head of their bicep, instead of attaching at the scapula like other primates in general, it attaches to I believe it is the lesser tubercle of the humerus. This allows greater reflexivity in the arms that allows their arm to extend further and rotate more in order to support brachiating movement. The long head of the bicep crosses the gibbon shoulder and is the only muscle affecting their reflexivity. This causes the muscle mass to be greater in the shoulder area, as the primate's entire body weight is placed upon this shoulder attachment. And in this diagram, I have the lesser tubercle of the humerus circled. So instead of the short head of the bicep attaching to the scapula, it's going to attach in there. With bipedal locomotion, gibbons have a locked knee gait like other primates. However, what makes them the most bipedal primate is that they can sustain this locomotion pattern for longer. Humans use their Achilles tendon as a spring to push off the ground when walking. However, gibbons instead use their quadriceps to propel them off the ground and bounce around. This makes them look as if they're almost moonwalking or running. So instead of walking like a human, they end up kind of bouncing around. Unlike humans, gibbons never have both feet off of the ground at the same time because their pelvis doesn't rotate like ours. Our pelvis rotation keeps our center of gravity placed within our spine and keeps us upright as we walk from leg to leg. With gibbons instead, their center of gravity is placed on their grounded foot, making them hobble back and forth as they move around. What makes gibbons more efficient bipeds than other primates is that they have a longer femoral neck, which allows them to mimic the femoral rotation that is seen in human bipedalism. In addition, as shown by this diagram, gibbons actually have a long Achilles tendon, much like humans, compared to great apes. This is used to stabilize them and keep them safe during a bipedal gait. And because this trait is absent in great apes, it's kind of being debated and investigated whether or not this is a homoplastic trait that was developed for similar needs for bipedalism, or if it was a modification of great ape Achilles tendons, which would make it an ancestral trait. They just use it differently, so it developed differently. Scientists have also hypothesized that the development of the Achilles tendon for stabilization is due to modifications on terrestrial quadrupedalism. meaning that both humans and gibbons started off quadrupedal, but they kind of modified it rather than adapting a new tendon, if that makes sense. Both humans and gibbons used it for similar reasons, if you believe in the savanna hypothesis. Gibbons use bipedalism in order to move from tree to tree when trees are sparse, and this is becoming increasingly more common with deforestation, whereas human ancestors used bipedalism to move across the savanna as trees were disappearing with global climate change. So just to recap this presentation, gibbons are brachiators and are the only true brachiators. This doesn't mean that other primates can't swing by their arms. However, gibbons rely solely on their arms for locomotion. Their anatomy, they have shoulder adaptations, and they have adaptations within their legs in order to support bipedalism compared with other primates. And they adapted it for similar uses as hominins. These are my sources. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.